morning Newsline is brought to you by the Barbados Tourism Marketing Inc.
Bermuda's under fire opposition leader resigns. Our top story in Caribbean Newsline for Friday, September 21. From the CMC News Center in Bridgetown, I'm Ricardo Roberts. Good evening. Thanks for joining us. Jan Atherton has resigned as Bermuda's opposition leader after losing a vote of no confidence. The 70-year-old embattled Atherton confirmed the news to the One Bermuda Alliance OBA party members by email on Friday afternoon, 2 days after 8 of the party's 11 members of parliament reportedly expressed their disapproval of her leadership. She said, quote, "It was an honor to be elected and serve as the leader of the One Bermuda Alliance. Now, as I step down, it is important that all members' voices are heard during our process of selecting and our new leader, and we stand together as one." End quote. Now, Governor John Rankin confirmed on Friday that a swearing-in ceremony for the new opposition leader will take place on Monday, but did not say who would be taking the oath. But party sources have suggested that Atherton's probable successor is businessman Craig Cannonier, who resigned as premier 4 years ago under a cloud of controversy. Atherton defeated him in a leadership fight last year. Gary Marino of Bermuda Broadcasting News reports on the meeting at which the no-confidence vote was held.
The meeting to determine a new leader of the opposition was held last evening with 8 of the 11 OBA members of parliament reportedly signing a letter expressing support for Craig Cannonier replacing Jan Atherton in that role. Sources telling Bermuda Broadcasting News a letter has already been sent to Government House advising of this development. We've reached out to Government House and are waiting to hear back from them. The 3 OBA MPs who did not sign the letter were Miss Atherton, of course, Trevor Moniz and Michael Dunkley, all of whom did not attend the meeting. Mr. Dunkley's absence was due to him being off island. Neither Mr. Moniz, Miss Atherton nor Mr. Cannonier have returned our calls. Now, in accordance with the Bermuda Constitution, the opposition leader is appointed by the governor, who will choose the member of the House of Assembly who, in his opinion, commands the majority of support of the members of the opposition party. While he may have been chosen to lead the opposition in the House of Assembly by his peers, a move still to be confirmed, Mr. Cannonier has not yet been selected as party leader. Mr. Cannonier was in fact the first leader of the OBA, which was born out of the marriage of the United Bermuda Party and the Bermuda Democratic Alliance. He subsequently resigned in the aftermath of the so-called Jetgate scandal.
And that scandal revolved around a 2013 trip Cannonier took to the U.S. in a private jet owned by American tycoon Nathan Lando, Nathan Lando, a would-be investor in Bermuda, but he denied any wrongdoing. Dominica's opposition leader Lennox Linton is due to return to court in March next year after being charged with several other members of the main opposition United Workers' Party for offences arising out of public disturbances that occurred in the capital on February 7 last year. Linton, along with Nicholas George and Dr. Thompson Fontaine, were charged with obstruction of justice and incitement. Opposition legislator Joshua Francis was charged with obstruction only. Now, when the three appeared in court on Thursday, only the obstruction charge was read to them. They pleaded not guilty. According to the charge, the men willfully obstructed the police in the execution of their duties when they refused to allow a truck from proceeding west after a public meeting in the capital. When Linton emerged from the court building on Thursday, he accused the government of wasting state resources, indicating that it had hired 3 attorneys from Trinidad and Tobago. Sandals Resorts International and St. Lucia's former Prime Minister Dr. Kenny Anthony may face off in in court in a multi-million-dollar withholding tax row. We get the details in this HTS News Force report.
Sandals Resorts International continues to make its case for the recently approved EC $24 million withholding tax break from government. The Sandals tax break row surfaced in 2017. Nearly 1 year on, and Sandals' attempts to justify the government tax waiver could land the renowned all-inclusive resort chain in court with former Prime Minister Dr. Kenny Anthony. A September 17th statement from Sandals pointed to what the company described has been, quote, sustained efforts to try and tarnish its good name and reputation, end quote. The Sandals statement named the former Prime Minister as being, quote, fully aware of the circumstances surrounding the matter, adding that, quote, it is very unfortunate that members of his party are among those being allowed to consistently misrepresent the issue, end quote. Between 2001 to 2009, the Inland Revenue Department assessed and determined that Sandals was liable to pay the EC $24 million withholding tax. Sandals objected and deployed Grant Thornton senior partner Richard Pittikin to discuss the issue with the former Prime Minister in 2014. The company has not indicated whether it made similar attempts at resolving the tax issue with the previous 2006 to 2011 Stephenson King-led administration. Sandals argued in its missive that the Inland Revenue Department tax assessment was, quote, not justified and incorrectly determined, end quote. The company alleges assurances were given by former Prime Minister Dr. Anthony and the then Deputy Prime Minister Philip J. Pierre. Sandals went on to question why Inland Revenue made no legal attempt to collect the outstanding taxes. The company has insinuated the alleged collection delay, quote, was to have derailed the expansion works that were planned for the Sandals Grand St. Lucia, end quote. The former Prime Minister issued a September 20th response of his own, in which he accused Sandals of making defamatory statements, which he said were, quote, completely false. Dr. Anthony says it would have been, quote, unlawful to intervene in the determination of assets by Inland Revenue. Dr. Anthony added that he gave no undertakings to Sandals that the government would intervene to resolve the complaint in its favor. The former Prime Minister has alleged that Sandals did not take up their complaint to the tax appeal commissioners and, quote, instead, it appealed to and leveraged the Chasney government to intervene, end quote.
A 22-year-old Trinidadian aviation student who is the son of a former university principal has been charged with trying to steal a plane in the United States after jumping an airport fence in Orlando, Florida on Thursday. Former principal of the St. Augustine campus of the University of the West Indies, Professor Clement Sankat, has confirmed that his son, Nishal Sankat, was the individual involved in the incident. He told the Trinidad Guardian newspaper he could not make any comment on the matter, but confirmed that his son had been very depressed earlier this week. The young Sankat faces charges of attempted criminal theft of an aircraft, criminal trespassing, and visa violation. Law enforcement authorities said he had parked his car and left it running, jumped the fence at the Melbourne International Airport, and boarded an American Airlines plane that was parked for maintenance. As we hear in this TV6 report, airport spokeswoman Laurie Booker told reporters that when Sankat reached the flight deck, 2 technicians and 2 security guards detained him before he could try to start the aircraft.
When the suspect entered the plane, he was not recognized by the 2 people on the plane doing work on it. One was a technician and one was a supervisor. When they approached him and he did not answer accordingly, they tackled him. They brought him down in the cockpit, and they wrestled him down into the hangar, the large hangar.
Sankat was arrested and later charged. The airport remained on lockdown for 5 hours and all flights were suspended, while law enforcement searched his vehicle and the airport. Local media report that Sankat entered the U.S. through Canada and is a part-time aviation management student at the Florida Institute of Technology.
You're watching Caribbean Newsline. Education officials in Jamaica investigate the sale of pills to students at a primary school. That's after the break. Stay with us.
Take you, we've never gone somewhere that you can feel for us. Oh, let me be the over. You're under, you never have to wonder. You can always play by ear, and that's the deal, my dear.
Their history have won the Women's ICC World T20 title.
We continue in Jamaica, where a team from the Ministry of Education visited a primary school to investigate how someone was allowed to, on the compound, to sell pills to students. The Gleaner reported last Friday that a man entered the school compound on September 13 and again on September 14, selling the tablets, which he reportedly said would enhance students' speed. The children reportedly began displaying signs of illness shortly after consuming the pills. We get more in this TVJ News report.
On Friday, 19 students at the Duckenfield Primary in St. Thomas had to get medical treatment after some started experiencing symptoms including abdominal pain and drowsiness. It was later discovered that the students were given pills by an adult. 18 of the 19 students were taken to the Princess Margaret Hospital on the advice of the Ministry of Health. Another student was treated at a private medical facility. Director of Safety and Security in Schools, Assistant Superintendent Coleridge Minto says the Education Ministry is conducting the probe along with the police.
We do have a preliminary report on the matter. A full investigation is being done, and so I don't want to speak to the preliminary report until we have completed the probe. Again, the report has to be submitted through to our permanent secretary for his review, and then I'm sure our PSR, our minister, will speak on it later on. ASP
Minto is not sure when the probe will be made available to the public, but says it should be soon. However, based on the outcome of the final report, the Education Ministry will be able to say if action will be taken.
And to determine whether or not there was any breach of security, whether or not there are any weaknesses to the system, and to use that to determine how we look on not just that particular school, but the other schools around. So I wouldn't want to comment on it until I am able to assess the full situation in terms of what happened.
Meanwhile, ASP Minto is reminding all schools of the safety and security policy guidelines put in place by the Ministry of Education.
Within that policy among other things, covers an access to the school. It covers what happens at your entrances and exit points. And therefore, it is very instructive that our administrators and our parents be familiar with the policies, especially as it relates to how people gain access, visitors or otherwise, on the compound, and that there are very clear protocols as it relates to what obtains once somebody comes on to the school's plan.
Detectives attached to the Morants Bay Criminal Investigation Branch have listed Brandon McIntosh, otherwise called Rockstar, of Ivan's scheme Duckenfield as a person of interest, who it's alleged gave the students the pills.
And this week in Newsline Entertainment, Barbadian-born international pop star Rihanna gets a new title.
Talk about a local legend. Barbadian pop star rubbing Rihanna Fenty just keeps adding more work to her plate. She now carries the title of Ambassador Extraordinary and Plenipotentiary, with specific responsibility for promoting education, tourism, and investment for her homeland. Rihanna has already been making waves in the music and acting world, and in her newest beauty project as head of the Fenty brand, which includes cosmetics and lingerie. But her new title comes with major responsibilities. Plenipotentiary is defined as a person, especially a diplomat, invested with the full power of independent action on behalf of their government, typically in a foreign country. Barbadian Prime Minister Mia Mottley said in a statement announcing Rihanna's new position that her government was honored to be able to confer the title on this outstanding Barbadian who has contributed significantly to raising the island's profile across the world. In accepting her new duties, Riri noted she was more than ready to play her part in giving back to her beloved home. The pop star shared, "I couldn't be more proud to take on such a prestigious title in my home country. Every Barbadian is going to have to play their role in this current effort, and I'm ready and excited to take on the responsibility." In 2008, Rihanna was appointed a cultural ambassador of Barbados, and she helped with philanthropic efforts in bringing tourists to the island. But while the Rihanna Navy is proud of the singer superstar, most of them have been impatient for new music from the songstress. One of the Umbrella Singer's Instagram followers expressed their thoughts in a comment on the singer's IG post. Fenty shared a promotional video of her upcoming lingerie line, Savage Time Fenty. "We want Fenty music," to which Rihanna replied, "She coming, sis." Another user questioned whether she had forgotten all about her music career, to which a clapback queen replied, "How? Y'all would never let me." What a tease. I guess we all just have to wait and see what's next on this superstar's agenda. Renee Sion, Newsline Entertainment.
And ahead in Newsline Sport, a former Cayman Islands Football Federation General Secretary is banned from football for life. The details after the break.
This hurricane tip comes to you compliments the Caribbean Disaster Emergency Management Agency and the Caribbean Media Corporation.
Be prepared. During a storm or hurricane warning, charge cell phones.
Honda has had a dominant season in IndyCar. Out of 14 races coming to Gateway, Honda had won 9 of them, 4 in a row. By putting cars on the grid at Gateway this weekend, Honda able to clinch their first manufacturer's crown in 6 seasons.
It's always our goals, right? Winning the Indy 500, winning the manufacturer's championship, and winning the driver's championship.
Yeah, luggage is over with. Yeah, luggage is over with. How much I must pay?
No, you can't do it like that. You'll have to take some of the things out of the suitcases and put in a box or something.
You know, you're a wicked woman. A wicked fat woman.
Do you want a boxer?
Box me, no? You think so you're helping me strike me? Try a box.
Barbados, it's time to laugh again. Get yourselves ready for the Caribbean's funniest men and women. Fast Promotions Annual Caribbean Comedy Explosion. Saturday, October 27th, Sir Garfield Sobers Gymnasium, 8 p.m. Get your early bird tickets now and pay $60 before all are sold out at ticketlinks.com. All Ticket Links outlets nationwide. Jeans Inc. Sheraton, CS Pharmacy, Rubis Wildy, and Eddie Supermarket Spicetown.
I come in here as a loner. I know you spot me from far.
Former General Secretary of the Cayman Islands Football Federation, Costas Takas, is among 3 football officials who have been banned for life from all football-related activities. FIFA's Ethics Committee said in a statement on Thursday that Takas, along with former board chairman of the North American Soccer League, Aaron Davidson, and Miguel Trujillo, a former FIFA match agent and owner of sports consulting companies, were found guilty of violating FIFA's bribery and corruption rules. They were each slapped with a fine of $1.3 million. Takas is currently serving a 15-month sentence after pleading guilty in connection with his receipt and transmission of millions of dollars in bribes paid to former CONCACAF boss Jeff Webb. And switching sports now, West Indies women are hoping to level the ODI series against South Africa on Saturday. The home side lost the first match in the 3-match series, but in the second ODI, led by Deandra Dottin's 3-wicket haul, they had put themselves in a good position after limiting the opposition to 177 for 8, with the match having been reduced to 38 overs. But the Windies' run chase never got going because of rain. Dottin said while there was nothing they could do about the weather, they were eagerly looking forward to Saturday's game and to leveling the series.
Well, unfortunately, we can only control what we can control. You know, the weather is not in our hands. The weather is in a lot of hands. So whatever happens, you just have to accept it and just bounce back for the last ODI. We as the West Indies women's team, we are looking forward to that game because we want to level the series and at least get some points on the board.
The Barbadian all-rounder, who captured just 3 wickets for just 29 runs from her 8 overs, said although the Windies were not able to push for victory, she was pleased with her performance.
Yes, I am very happy with my performance today. You know, producing for the team is a must, you know, and it's something I always want to do. So in order to have like my team in a good position, you know, I always try my best to make it happen.
Trinidad and Tobago's netball team will be wary of the Jamaicans, with whom they've been drawn in the same grouping for next year's World Cup in England. The 2 countries, which have been fierce rivals in the sport, will meet in October in the Sunshine Series. In this report from Ian Wason of TTT Sports, TNT captain Rhonda John Davis says her team will take nothing for granted.
4 years ago, Trinidad and Tobago was grouped with Australia and New Zealand. This time it's South Africa and Jamaica. The Calypso girls, fresh from winning the AFNA qualifiers in Barbados last month, have stepped up preparations and are in good spirits. Defender Shaquanda Green temporarily substituted aboard with a mic as if she's attempting to take my job and spoke to Captain Rhonda John Davis about the draw.
What is your take on the draw?
We are in a tough group, and the thing about it is that I would not want it any other way. Right. You know, we have an opportunity to scout Jamaica, seeing that we're playing them in the Sunshine Series October, and we just have to learn from it and ensure that when we go to the World Cup, we can capitalize on what we've learned from the Sunshine Series.
That series in Jamaica is especially important for the former world champions, and John Davis is looking to capitalize on the experience it will provide.
We have not really played international games, and especially at a high standard in such a long time. I think that we are starting over. Right. So we have to, I'm looking forward to everything. I'm not taking anything for granted. I think that they have had fabulous seasons in the past. And I think that we just need to go into the game, one game at a time, learn from it, and ensure that whatever errors that we make in the first game, we don't make it into the second game. Great.
The Calypso girls were playing the men's national team as they themselves are preparing for a 4-team Goodwill tournament at Tacarigua starting on Friday. They play against a Tobago team, Grenada and St. Vincent.
A scheduled 2-match international friendly series between the Reggae Boys and Cuba has been abandoned because of the Cubans' failure to secure a flight into Jamaica on the required dates. This was confirmed by General Secretary of the Jamaica Football Federation, Dalton Wint, on Thursday. The Cubans were scheduled to arrive in the island on September 30th and were due to play their first game against a local-based Jamaica contingent on October 2nd at the Montego Bay Sports Complex in Catherine Hall, St. James, with another match set for Drax Hall in the St. Anne 3 days later. Now, Wynn said the Cubans were able to get seats on September 28th and suggested that the first game be played on the 30th. But he said that was not possible since September 30th is a Red Stripe Premier League game day, and they did not want to disrupt the schedule of the league early in the season. But the JFF secretary said he didn't expect the cancellation to significantly affect the squad. And finally, Jamaica's Boxing Federation has received a major financial boost for its developmental programs over the next 3 years. TVJ's Simon Preston reports.
The National Boxing Association, AIBA, has given the Jamaica Boxing Board of Control US $300,000, which is to be spread over the next 3 years. This year, the Boxing Board of Control will receive US $80,000, while in 2019 and 2020, the local governing body will get $100,000 US. President of the Jamaica Boxing Board of Control, Stephen Bomber Jones, says he's delighted with this boost.
I'm over the moon when it comes to that. I mean, it's the governing body that, they've recognized you, they've called you out, and they show that they've been following what you've been doing over the years. So, I mean, I take it as a testament to the fact that we're on the proper path and that we have a far way to go, but they've noticed where we've come from. So not only noticing, but they've listened to us. They've asked for our opinion, we've given it, and then they said, okay, based on your opinion, we're going to support in this fashion. So it's a start, it's a very good start, and I think it transcends across the Caribbean. It will be a good thing.
Jones explained how the funds will be utilized.
What we had proposed to them was helping the Caribbean Championships at the end of the year, helping what we call Let's Box Days. So if a country says they would like to have a Let's Box Day, where they invite other countries over, a certain amount of money will go to that country. So we want, there's enough for all the countries to get a bit.
General Secretary of the Jamaica Boxing Board of Control, Leroy Brown, also expounded on how the money will be spent.
But most of all, it's going to allow us to train particularly officials. The boxers will have their piece of the pie, but then we're going to have officials trained. Right now we're short of boxing officials, and we are making plans for some training courses. One, to train the officials that we have now, and secondly, to bring new officials in.
And that's the sports. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Caribbean Newsline is brought to you by the Barbados Tourism Marketing, Inc.
Here we go. Head on a swivel. Give me my one and I'm good. Give me my one and I'll go peacefully. Oh, I get to stick. Oh, he's a beauty. Look at that. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8-pointer. That's an 8-pointer, boys. Take a picture.
We came all the way from Minnesota.
Orlando, Florida. Hartford, Connecticut. Came all the way from Omaha, Nebraska. We came all the way from New Hampshire.
Came all the way from Wisconsin. I'm a cheesehead.
The C. Well, it might just as well stand for champion.
I think a lot of guys that play in C play for the love of the game. We come out to play the game for free. Guys take vacation from work, and we all have regular jobs, and we come out here just for the love of the game.
Again, the major developments of this day: Bermuda's opposition leader Gian Atadine resigns after losing a vote of no confidence, and former General Secretary of the Cayman Islands Costas Takas banned for life. That's Caribbean Newsline. For news on sports round the clock, log on to CaribNews.com. For programming, log on to CaribVision.tv and subscribe to CaribVision's YouTube channel. See you again on Monday. Good night.